welcome back to an exciting walkthrough video of some cybersecurity stuff. All right, so here I am. I have already started my Azure machine. I already have my Windows server. I've logged into my Windows server and the server manager is running. I got my pfSense running in the background. I know that the pfSense is ready because my little orange or yellow caution sign has gone here. So I'm basically ready to go. All right, here's what we need to do. Today, what we're going to do is show how passwords can be captured and cracked. First thing we're going to do is do the capturing process and extracting some of the information, and then we'll do the cracking in the sort of second phase of this project. All right, so here we go. In a previous video, we already set up file sharing. So on the Windows server, there is already a share, and I'm actually not even going to show you it because it is ready to go. If you don't have it ready, you need to get that done because you need at least a file share going in order to see what's going on. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just talk for a second about passwords. We all know the advice out there about passwords. It should be long, it should be complex. But the point of this video is really to talk to users and say, look, here's why. Here's how they get hacked. So we're going to basically show user how we would hack it. And you can watch me do it, and then if you're a user, you can be interested in how this happens. But here we go. Now, we're doing this actually also the hard way. Hard way meaning I'm not training you to be a script kiddie. There's little scripts you can run, and there's some pretty easy ways to capture passwords running over the network. We are going to do it in WireShark. So WireShark is what the cool kids use. Not really. This is really the hard way, the long way. But in order to really understand what's going on, it makes sense to do it in WireShark. If you haven't already seen how to do WireShark and start a capture, of course, that's another video. And boy, we're just getting pretty advanced in here too. So what we want is to capture on the main adapter. So we're on this Ethernet adapter here, and I'm going to hit just start a capture. You also know that I could have just double clicked on the Ethernet and away it would go too. I do want to be sure there should be a packet or two sort of flying by in a second. There we go. So that looks good. So we're capturing packets. Now on the other end, I'm going to actually log in. I think while I'm here, we'll just leave that for a second. All right, we're going to log in from over here. So I'm going to open my File Explorer, and I'm going to connect here as if I was going to connect to the shared drive that I normally would. Now I just did a video on how to do this. You're going to look it up if you need to. I already have the share set up on the Windows server, and I need to hit Map Network Drive. The share does need to be there, or you're not going to be able to, the passwords aren't going to be shared back and forth because it won't be ready for it. So here I am. I'm going to connect to the share I already created. And there is the share name. I for sure need to say connect using different credentials. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to log in. I'm going to log in as 3 different users, and it's going to be passwords that are crackable. Basically, these are passwords. We're going to use some I'm going to use some passwords that are in the raw queue list. So I'm doing this. I'm connecting to the share. I'm connecting using different credentials. Now I'm going to hit finish. Now, if you were a person watching just the previous video, you would know I do have user accounts on here with passwords, and I'm going to tell you right now, they are not, I'm not going to use those. I'm going to log in and just make up usernames. If you're one of my students, I've told you some specific things to use in terms of what the passwords should be, because I want to see examples to users of what, for example, what is a clearly stupid password going to be? And then one that might look good, but is actually pretty crackable. So I'm not going to do a whole lot because every password can be cracked in the same way. So for now, I'm going to use usernames, and I'm going to type in usernames that would be tied to a password I know. So I'm going to use a Fred, and I've basically written over here on a notepad what Fred's password is. Okay, so there's Fred's password, and I'm just going to hit OK. because Fred is not going to be able to connect. Now I do need to note here, it's acting like we're going to still log in as Fred. I do need to hit more choices here because I'm going to use a different account, because I want to use a different account to see different passwords. Okay, and I'm doing some very specific passwords here just to see, and again I'm going to demonstrate how to do, or yeah, we're going to crack them later, but here's Sally has a password. And again, if I was one of my students, I would be very careful and I would have specifically which passwords went with which person. Okay, so I think that's enough. We did 3 there. Now I'm just going to hit cancel. So we hit cancel here. I can just cancel this and I can actually close this out and I'm actually done. So I'm going to switch back into my Windows server. I'm going to stop the capture. All right, so next issue is, how do we see what we want to see? I'm going to maximize this view just for kicks, not for kicks. I'm going to maximize it so I can see it. And I'm going to do the little thing, I've probably done this every time, but somehow it's still there. I move that out of the way because you almost never use the hex stuff. All right, so you can see already right here, SMB2 are when the login attempts happen. So I can run a filter, I can put in SMB2, that's one of the options, and it's also called NTLM-SSP, which is another one. NTLM-SSP will actually give you a smaller set, and NTLM-SSP will give you just the ones you want. Right, so what I'm looking at here is the traffic that's used when we want to log in. So we have there's basically 3 little steps here that we're seeing. One, we aren't seeing the successful login, but that's okay because you notice here we have Fred here, there's Sally here, and there's Sue. The first thing that happens is the client, oops, that's the 10.1.0.1, connecting to the server does a session setup request. The server responds back with a status more processing required, and then the client responds back with the password sort of information. We'll call it, for now, we'll call it the encrypted password information. If you're one of my students, you need to explain what is in here. So I want to hear, like, I want you to find out, and very specifically, like, what is going on, what is happening to the password that it's coming over in this format. So here we are. What we need for this in order to do our cracking is we're going to open up a notepad. I'm just going to do it from the search bar. We'll just put it in Notepad. I'm going to open up Notepad. We're running a little slow today, and that's fine. Come on, buddy. Hopefully it doesn't do the triple and quadruple clicking here, right? So here's my notepad. I'm going to actually just for now, as we're doing this, I'm going to save it as, we'll just do a save as here really quickly. Documents is fine. I'm going to call this one, just calling it hashes.txt, okay? We're calling it hashes, and actually if you go to research this, it does involve hashes, but in a way it's not hashes, but that's fine. We're going to hit save. This is called hashes.txt. All right, so here's what we need to do. We need to extract some stuff. So we're going to put it in the correct format. Now here's the format it needs to go in. Oh, it looks like I've done this a million times before. All right, here's the format it's ultimately going to be in. We're going to have the user's name here. There's going to be 2 colons. This is the domain name. Then there's a colon. This is a thing called the server challenge. And then this rest of it is going to be the response. Okay? So it's a whole bunch of stuff down here that's very long and very excited. Okay, so this is just an example of that file. I actually don't need this because I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to close that. Oops, I don't need that. I'll just hide this, I think. Just zoom it out of the way and make it look all pretty on your screen as it zooms away. All right, so we've got those. Oh, there's a bunch of untitles back here. Let me close that. This is what happened when I got impatient and I clicked and clicked and clicked, because there's all these untitles back here. I just want one hashes. That's all I need is this hashes. I'll keep it down here for now. All right, so we're going to start with Fred. Fred's right here. The thing about this process is it has to be letter perfect. All right, everything has to be exactly correct. All right, I'm on the part where it said Fred in here. I'm going to expand my session setup request, and I need to get into the security blob. There's a whole bunch of expanding I need to do in here. I think that's in here. That's right. Where is it? It's funny how often I do this. There it is. This is the one we want. We want the NTLM service identifier. We are going to be interested in the NTLM response in a minute. For now, we're interested in the username and the domain name. If you're on an actual Windows domain, the host name doesn't work. You have to have the domain name. Notice here the host name and the domain name are the same. That's because I'm using local accounts. If I right click here and I hit copy, where's copy? Copy. And I hit value. That's what I want. I paste that back into here. I'm going to right click and hit paste so you can see me do it. And have Fred. Then I need 2 colons. All right, and then I remember, and go back to Fred again. I need the domain name. So I right click on the domain name. I hit copy, value, switch back to here, and I'm going to right click and hit paste. There's the domain name. Now I need a colon. The next thing to come in is called the server challenge. The server challenge is just what that said. The packet I've been copying from with the source 10.1.0.1 to 192.168.1.2, this is the client response. We need the previous packet here where it says status more processing required. That's where the server challenge is. I'm going to switch back over. I'm going to click on that one. In here, I'm going to scroll down. Hopefully I've expanded everything down. And we're looking for the NTLM server challenge. This is the value we need. And I'm going to right click here. And I'm going to hit copy value. Now I paste it again. It's getting nice and routine. Then after this, I need the server response. Now I'm going to paste in the entire server response. And then I'll show you in a minute, you have to separate a thing called, that's the, well, I'll show you where it is in just a second. All right, so I'm going back to the client. This is what the client sent. And the client sent basically, and we'll call it an encrypted version of the password in this NTLM response. I want the NTLM v2 response. I'm expanding this anyway though, but I'm going to copy this line. So I right click here and I copy this value. This goes into my text file. Since this is now the really super long part of the file, I'm going to hit enter though. That's so I can go sort of back and forth and see the whole line. What I need to do is look in here for the NT proof string. The NT proof string is, I keep clicking out of that, sorry, is right here, NT proof string, and I need to put a colon after the NT proof string and before the rest of the response. It's usually before it starts doing some flags. That's where this response version yada yada is. That's where you start seeing some zeros and ones. So FE3 is where the colon goes after the 3. And again, this has to be letter perfect. Okay, so there we are. I have username, domain name. Oops, I could just highlight them. There's username. Here's domain name. Here is the server challenge. Here is the entire server response with a colon separating the NT proof string from the rest. All right, now I'm going to do the rest. We had Sally in here. Sally the same way. I go into Sally. I scroll down and I find Sally's name is somewhere in here. There it is. There's Sally. I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy Sally's value. I'm going to right click in here and paste it. I put in 2 colons. Going back to here, I now need the domain name. I right click on here and I hit copy value. The reason I'm copying this is, like I said, it is letter perfect, case sensitive, as far as I know. Like, you just don't want to make a mistake in here. All right, so there's the username, domain name. Now I need the server challenge that's in the previous packet. So I go up 1 packet and I find the server challenge. It's right here. I right click this and I copy the value here. I'm going to go back to Sally. This was Sally's, and I have to make sure this is the one for Sally. If you put someone's server challenge with a different response, it's not going to work. It has to be the exact one, because they all sort of depend on each other. I'm going back into Sally here. Now we need the NTLM response, NTLM v2 response, by the way. It's probably the same, but we'll just copy from here, copy value. I'm pasting where it's Sally's. I'm going to enter so I can get back and see. I got to put a colon in. It's probably going to go right after that 9. And we're going to look though. Going back here. Blah, 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 blah. 709 is the NT proof string. That's right there. And I put the colon right at the end of the NT proof string. So there's Sally. Now let's do Sue, because we're having a great time now. Where is Sue? Sue is in here somewhere. There is Sue. I'm going to right click on Sue. I'm going to copy the value. Paste it in here. Put in 2 colons. I'm going to go back here. I need the domain name. I'm going to copy the domain name value. Pasting that in. I'm still doing it with right clicking and pasting, even though I know I could just hit Control V. I'm going to the server challenge, which is right here, NTLM server challenge. I'm going to copy that value, and I'm pasting that one in. Then I put a colon. Then I need the NTLM response, the entire thing. So I need the NTLM v2 response. I copy that value, pasting it in where Sue goes. Then I need to hit enter because I'm going to have to find the proof string, which is CFEF. And again, it's usually right where the zeros start. So there's Sue. All right, so hashes is now done. I'm going to save hashes. And what I'm actually also wanting to do here is we are going to put this is kind of fun. I'm going to put this in a different place, because I just remembered I don't want this in downloads. I'm going to close the file because I'm done. Oops, I already saved it. Let's make sure we saved it. And I'm going to close it. It's in the documents right now, and I actually want it in www root. This is so I can get to it later. I'm just going to put it in here. This is obviously, if I was doing this in real life, you don't want to put these hashes somewhere where public people can get to them. But I'm putting them here so I can get to them because we're going to crack them. Next step. All right, so I'm going to pause right here. Hopefully you were able to get your hashes done. What I'm going to do next is actually download and install a virtual machine of Kali. So we're going to leave this. I'm going to close that actually. Let me close this. And I actually am done on this server. I'm going to save this just for kicks, and we'll just call this Windows passwords. And we're going to save this in documents is fine, so I'm going to hit save, and we're going to close out of that. I'm actually done with the server for just a minute because now I need to swing back to my Azure machine, and I'm opening Edge here, and I'm going to download Kali. So I need Kali. Kali Linux download looks like a good thing to get, so I'm going to go over here to get Kali. And I want a virtual machine. I am on Hyper-V, and so I can download this. Very exciting. It should take a minute. Notice it's in 7-zip format. I already have 7-zip installed. It was set up for me. I set this up for my students already, so it will be ready to go. Hopefully it doesn't take 2 hours because this is taking forever. All right, it looks pretty stalled right now, except I'm gonna go ahead and open up this downloads folder, and we're gonna just see if we can use the gzip to install it. It's this downloaded file, and it does not look happy here. Let's see what 7-zip will do for it. I'm just gonna extract here. Oh, now it's acting like it finished. Let me cancel this. Oops, what's going on here? Yes, I'm gonna cancel. Oh no, it's totally, that's the thing. Let's just do it again. I'm gonna go to 7-zip. Again, it wasn't confirmed to download correctly. We're gonna go ahead and, since I already started, it created that folder and it created some stuff. A fair amount of the time this works, and I'm tired of waiting, so we're just gonna leave it. This might actually even screw this up. Like, notice it's just still sitting on it at 0. Once you hit 0, you can give this a try if you want. Sometimes it's risky, so we'll see what happens. The biggest part of this file is this VHDX. That's the virtual hard disk, and that's obviously, yeah, the big part of the file. It's fun. Let's see if it takes us actually 3 minutes. We're getting better. Funny. I guess 3 minutes. They meant it. All right. So now it's in here. I would not leave this in your downloads folder. It's actually going to use the virtual hard disk for the virtual machine. So we're going to actually eventually have that added to the list. I'm going to move this. I'm just dragging it. Maybe. Come on. Aren't you wanting to drag for me? Oh, computers. All right, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to drag this. Now it looks like it's dragging. I've gotten some little lag to my Azure machine. Move to documents. I'm going to let that go. Oops. What did we just do? I'm doing nothing but problems here. That looks good though. All right, it's not in downloads anymore. What a funny thing. Okay, so now we're in the documents. This Kali Linux is in here. And what I need to do is I need to actually open this create VM. So I'm going to right click this. I can actually, I think, double click it. Let's just double check what we're doing here. I just want to open it. Let's put edit. And since we've already set up our the virtual machine environment here to be where the Windows server is on a private network. We have the pfSense, that's our firewall between the internal network and an external network. We need to actually change the default in here, and it's right here. Let me just show you why this happened. If we go into my Hyper-V Manager and I hit Virtual Switch Manager, I have a WAN switch and a LAN switch. WAN switch being sort of the public network, LAN switch being that private network. I want Kali to be on the public network. And whenever they set this up, this VM, they expected you to not change your switch name. So this switch name, where right now it says default switch, if you're one of my students, you have a different virtual switch name. If you're just a random, not a random person, one of my darling, beloved viewers from YouTube, you probably have a default switch and you can leave it. So we're going to go ahead and leave this here as WAN switch. I'm actually going to try this with memory startup bytes 2048, even though my notes say it should be 4096. I'm going to close this because, oh, I saved this. I don't know if you saw me do that. I hit save and now I'm going to close it. And then I can run this, actually the batch file. So this I need to run. This is actually best to do a run as administrator. It usually works even if you don't though. So this should work just fine. I mean, you're obviously an administrator anyway, but there it worked. This is what happens when it worked. It would say something like default switch not found, or if you were changing it poorly or not according to what was going on, it would just say whatever, the switch is not found. But this worked, and I'm going to hit press any key to continue. If it didn't work, you need to double check. Maybe again go in here and edit this and make sure, I'm just going to go into it again. I'm going to scroll down here, that your switch name is the thing that needs to match up. All right, so now when I switch back, notice it's Kali Linux right there, Kali Linux 1C hypervisor, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to connect to this one, and I'm going to start it. So this will start Kali. And this is in a bad mood. Not enough memory in the system to start the virtual machine. Ran out of memory. I'm going to hit close. I'm going to try it just one more time. This is always in a bad mood. Let me go back here. We don't have enough memory. And what do I want to do here? I'm actually going to try this. I'm actually going to just change this memory. Maybe this is why it says to do that, 4096. And we're going to start this again. Nope, you don't have enough memory. Ran out of memory. All right, what do we want to do? I'm going to change that back to 2048 because I really want it to run with 2048. Let's close down some of this other stuff. This should help a little bit. Close the browser there. Wonder what else I'm running that's using memory. This wouldn't use much memory. I'm still going to close that though. I need some memory, people. No, maybe that did it. Okay, so here we go. We're booting in 1 second. This is pretty normal. There's some stuff going on over the side here in my Kali. Looks like we're doing okay. Okay, as we noted before, KALI is the username and KALI is the password. I'm going to log in. And now I'm going to move this over. I just kind of like this idea of this is on the outside of my network and this is on the inside. I'm just going to remind ourselves here, if I go into here, in www, that's where that hashes.txt file was. And now I need to get that file. So I'm going to open Firefox in Kali, just with one click. And you wait for it here. Since this is the first time you've opened it, you might get some more stuff, but this is normal. I'm going to go to 192.168.1.2. I'm going to download the hashes.txt file. All right, there they are. Since this is a text file, I can really just save page as, and it will just save it to, and what do we like here? Downloads is probably fine, but just for kicks, I'm gonna move it to documents and hit save. I need to remember where I put this though. Okay, do not forget, I put this in documents, I'm hitting save. Now the file is in documents, and what I'm gonna do is actually close out of Firefox, and I'm gonna go to a terminal. So there's the terminal emulator, I click that once, and this is opening a terminal emulator. I'm going to expand this window a little bit because I just want to be able to see it a little more. And here we are. This is in the Kali root directory. Now we're in Linux, so we use a little bit different of directory listing as an ls to see what's in the directory. And we definitely put that in downloads. It's still a CD, or we put it in documents. I'm going to go over to documents, and that's where I ls, and there's my hashes.txt. Now, I just need to use Hashcat. And while I'm here, we'll just need to use Hashcat. I'm going to show you that in Kali, I'm going to go into the, I might as well go into this one. I'm going to go into the file system. And if we go into, double check where I'm going. I'm going to look for that rocku directory. I need the rocku, which is in USR. I'm scrolling down here. I'm just showing you where it is, by the way, and we might need it later. USR/share/ there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I'm scrolling down to word lists. Scroll. Lots of scrolling. There's a lot of shared stuff in here, isn't there? There's word lists. There's word lists, and I double click that. And in here is rocku. It's a zipped file. In the past, I've unzipped it first. This time I'm going to try it with just leaving it zipped because I've seen people using Hashcat in a way that uses a zip file. All right, so I'm going to use Hashcat. Let me just note here, I'm just going to type Hashcat. Hashcat is a command, and it'll tell you like, hey, you got to use like some stuff. You have to know how to use your Hashcat. So we're going to use Hashcat, and Hashcat has just a couple of arguments. And since I'm not really here to teach a tutorial on Hashcat, this is more about demonstrating good or bad passwords. I'm just going to tell you what's happening here. All right. The -a means, we're going to put an A0. This is the method. So -a with a 0 means we're going to use a word list. A -m is the type of hash we have. 5600 is an NTLM version 2 password. We're going to type the name of the file. And notice here, I'm in documents, and this hashes is in documents. So I don't have to put a full path to this, and that's kind of partly why I did this. So there's hashes.txt, and then I need the name of the word list. So I put /usr/share/word lists/rocku.txt. And like I said, I heard a rumor I could just use it compressed, .gz. So this is the name of the word list. A0 means do a dictionary attack or use a word list. The -m 5600 means we're using these NTLM version 2 hashes. The next thing is the name of our hashes file, and then the word list itself, the full path to it, because that word list is not in this directory. I'm going to hit enter, and we're going to hope for some happiness here. So we're on a VM, so this is actually going to be pretty slow. You're basically on a VM running on a VM, and so yeah, this is pretty slow. If you really wanted to be speedy with running Hashcat, you would install this on your desktop. Hashcat can use GPU, and it works really well, especially even for this type of hash, that it runs pretty quickly. But again, in this case, it's going to take a little while. Not enough allocable memory for this attack. This is also, we're going to just see one more time. Yeah, that's not enough memory. All right, well that was sad. Remember I told you I didn't want to have to use the 4096, but it looks like we're going to have to, and hopefully we have enough memory anyway. I'm going to shut this down. We're running on a razor's edge here. I'm going to go to File, Settings. We're going to hit the memory here, and we are going to, I guess I just go to 4096. I hate doing that though. Hit OK. Let's see if it still starts. Okay, that looks good. By the way, here, when it says booting, if you just hit enter, it'll, I don't know, save you 2 seconds to boot it up. We're just going to go back in, and the nice thing about Kali is it does save what you've been doing, and so you can just save it here. I'm going to Kali and Kali. All right, so it turns out my old notes were right, that you do need to have 4096. Okay, I'm going to pop back this open. I think we can just go, yeah, it totally does that. First I need to CD to my documents. There it is right there. Then I'm going to up arrow, and this is the command. I'm going to hit enter. One of the fun things about it is the first time you do it, just that first part where it's like, hey, you're not working well, then it goes really fast. All right, notice I told you we're on a VM of a VM, but look how much time it actually took. Does it even have time estimate? Here we go. So it took basically 1 second to run through the entire list. And here it broke, oh shoot, it broke all 3 of my passwords. So sure enough, Fred's password is princess, and now you know what Fred's password is. Sue did QWER1234, and Sally did password 01. All right, so we cracked it. Now, again, if you're one of my students, you should be doing things like, okay, now we're going to try out and sort of give people a sense of what it takes to really crack a password. And I'm just going to show you a couple more things, even though none of these will work anyway. Well, none of these will work, or none of these, I don't have any more passwords to crack. So what I actually am going to have to do is just not do it. So let me just note here, if I run it again, it's going to tell me this thing. Info, all hashes found as pot file and or empty entries. What we need to do here is, there is a pot file. Okay, the pot file shows you, or has these passwords stored in it. If I go up arrow again and hit dash dash and type show and then hit enter, it will show what was already cracked. And so there's the ones that were already cracked. And if I wanted to do this again, I can actually delete the pot file. And just for kicks, I'm going to do that. But just to refresh my memory, I'm going to remind myself where the pot file is. So we're going to just type here, hashcat pot file location. It's funny, I seem to remember where it is. Make sure you get a new version because they actually change it. Let me see if this 2024. They changed it, and so this is the person complaining on this. This is often such and such. The pot file is going to be, let's going to see if it's in .hashcat. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my command prompt, and I'm going to go to CD, and I'm going to put a tilde. That'll put me to the main directory. And I'm going to do an ls-a. Dash A means show me everything, even the stuff that's hidden. And if there's a hashcat in there, which there is not, that means that's not where this pot file is. Okay, we are looking for home, it might be this one, home local. Let's try that one. I'm gonna switch back over here. Is local in there? Oops. Home.local, yeah, there's .local. So rather than do it the long way, or whatever, this way, I'm going to go back. Let me close out of Firefox. I'm going to delete the pot file is basically my point. I'm going to go into here, home. I need to go to, this is a little weird, I have to type .local, and then it'll look for it. What was I looking for? I think it was share. Why am I not seeing hidden files? Show me No, we'll just do it in the other thing. Go back into Firefox again. Sometimes if you're using the command prompt, you better keep using the command prompt. So we're going to do here pot file. Let's make sure we know where we're going. What's in here? We're looking for this .local share hashcat. I'm going to go into our terminal. I'm going to cd.local. I'm going to ls in here. There is a share there. I'm going to go to cd share. ls in here. There is a hashcat in there. I'm going to ls again. And there's the pot file. If I rm it, so I'm just going to remove it, then it's gone. All right, so we got rid of the pot file. Now I'm going to go back to my home directory. I'm going to go back into downloads. Oops, documents is where we were, documents. And we're going to do another hashcat command. I'm just going up arrow because, well, no, I'm not going to up arrow. Well, I will up arrow. I'm going to up arrow until I find my old hashcat command, because we aren't going to do, I'm going to do a brute force, and let's see if we can get that princess, well, or that QWER. Let's do that one. All right, if I change the A to a number 3, this does basically a brute force attack. The M5600 stays the same, but now I'm not using a word list. Oh, and I can take off this show too. So I'm deleting all this stuff here. So I got a hashcat A3 M5600 hashes.txt, and then I can type a mask. And I know that the one password was a lowercase letter, question L. QWERT is 4 lowercase letters. And then the 1, 2, 3, 4 is 4 digits. And this is just a brute force of that. I'm going to put a -I, which should increment it. Let's get this going. It'll just take hopefully a second here. So I'm looking for 4 lowercase letters and 4 digits, and I want it to, with the -I, it should be going through basically like shorter and longer versions of it. Although I've never noticed that a -I doesn't actually make sense here, but we'll just keep going. All right, here's 3 lowercase letters. There's 4 lowercase letters. And it still hasn't found it. This is the part where it takes a minute. If I type S right now, see where it says status? I can see that it's trying some stuff. So now it's doing 4 lowercase letters plus the number. And I'm going to scroll up just so you can see. I'm going to scroll up here. So there's 4 lowercase letters, there's 3 lowercase letters, 2 lowercase letters, and there's 1 lowercase letter. That's what the -I does. It starts at the left side and adds 1. Looks like we got done with our 1 digit. So if I hit status again, you can see here we're working on 4 lowercase letters and 2 digits. And you can see hopefully that this is brute force, right? So this is estimated to take 4 minutes and 1 second, and it probably will, honestly. I mean, even to do a key WERT 1, 2, 3, 4. And hopefully this is advice that as you're thinking about this, this is kind of why people tell you some of the password advice you have. Like they might say, hey, you need a random, like it needs to be random. It shouldn't be in a dictionary. It shouldn't be on one of these word lists. It should be long. Like this is where you get that sort of good advice. So one of the things, I guess, if I was one of my students and I was doing like a really complicated password that I was showing them like, hey, I did a really cool password, I might just put in, I might have done like a 16-character password that's fairly easy to remember, but I might do like, here's what the mask looks like, and then see what the time estimated is. And you'll see if you add on to the length of something a lot, then it will, like, it extends the time like massively. So how are we doing here? We're still on 2 digits. This is taking a nice long time. And by the way, like, I'm sure you understand the idea that you it has to try all the combinations of every letter. Then it has to do every combination of the letter plus one number. And then it adds on this second number. And so this is going to take, even just to do these two, and in fact, I'm going to stop it because I think I've had enough. Okay, so we note here, even though it did, QWER 1, 2, 3, 4, if you brute force just 4 random lowercase letters and 4 random digits, like it's going to take a good long time. Let me hit a Q here, and I'll just show you again. I'm going to up arrow, and I'm going to take off the I. So I just deleted that I. Now I'm going to hit enter. And here, it'll tell me in a second how long this is expected to take. And this here, just this one is 6 hours. Now, 6 hours is nothing, by the way, and if you were doing this with a GPU, it would be much, much faster. If we can get this into years, then we've really found something. And let me just show you really quickly what that would look like. So I may do something like, we're going to do those 4 digits and 4 numbers, and then we're going to do another 4 lowercase letters, except I have to do this. 4 lowercase letters, I'm going to hit that one. I'm just wasting computer cycles, by the way, right now. And notice this one, right? Now we have 4 lowercase letters, 4 digits, and 4 other lowercase letters. And again, yes, you do this faster on like a GPU connected device, but 345 years is plenty long for someone's password to get cracked. So I think at this point you would say like, hey, I've made my point. This password is super hard to crack. So I'm going to stop this one here with another quit. I'm going to do the word list one again, just for grins, because, let me just note, since I deleted the pot file, that's actually gone. I'm going back and getting the word list one because that was the one without the show. I can run this word list one again, and I'm just going to, just for heck, do it again. And it's going to re-crack them, and that's fine because I deleted the pot file. And there's Princess QWER 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, this takes 1 second. It takes no time at all to do these word list ones. But like I said, the brute force ones take a long time. All right, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. There really is a lot to it. Hopefully you're enjoying this, and hopefully you're here to watch the next one. Bye-bye.